This video will cover Assignment 5 Part 2, the insert part of it, and I'll make another video for update and delete. So we're just going to look at inserting for Part 2 here. Again, insert's going to have a page with some elements on it. It will go to doInsert, which is a pass-through or a processing page. That page connects to the database, and then it redirects to the select page. In this video, we'll look at these two files here for Part 2, insert and doInsert. For Part 2 as a whole, you're going to have to do insert, doInsert, update, doUpdate, and delete. And you will continue to have index, select, and your database connections in the menu. So looking at the finished solution here, once again, we've got our select page that was done from last time. We are going to, in this video, work on this insert part. So when we click insert, we can enter a shipper ID with a company name and a phone number. We'll hit insert, and we'll notice that what I just entered shows up here once again. So this page here does not connect to the database. It's just a page with form elements on it. I'll enter some information once again. This one's shipper ID 44. Hit insert info. There's the one we just entered. So it went through a processing page or a pass-through page that connected to the database that inserted this data, then redirected us back to select.php, which pulled that new data along with everything else from the database. So let's first go to PhpMyAdmin. And again, to get to PhpMyAdmin, it's https://engineering.purdue.edu/phpMyAdmin. Additionally, if you are not on campus, you need to have your VPN enabled. You need to have your VPN enabled in order to get to your assignment, which is at https://cgt2web2.tech.purdue.edu/courses/cgt356/your folder/your assignment. So remember that you've got to have that S there. Remember that you've got to have your VPN enabled. Same thing here. Got to have HTTPS, and you've got to have your VPN enabled. Again, you'll use your username, which is CGT356 web number letter here, and you'll use the associated password that you were given. From the drop down, you need to make sure that you choose GOS. If you don't choose GOS, you'll sit there. You can hit go over and over and over again, and it will not work. So make sure that you've got GOS selected. We'll go ahead and log in here. Again, as you can see, I can see all of the databases that are here. I'm going to go ahead and go to my database that I have set up, and I'm going to go to my Shippers Lab 5 table. You'll notice I have two, and I've mentioned this before, and I'm going to mention it again. Notice the case sensitivity. That's why this is here. To show you that case sensitivity matters. In your code, in your PHP, if you put a capital L or a lower, it has to match. If yours, let's come up here and let's just use up here. Let's just choose the top one, which doesn't have anything in it, so that person hasn't done part 1. So this person has done part 1. Shippers Lab 5, Users Lab 5 has a capital L. So in your PHP, you must have a capital L. If you have a lowercase l, it will not work. It will not insert into the database. It will not select from the database. Case sensitivity matters. So let's come back down here. Here's the data that I just entered. My Shippers Lab 5 table. I just entered 22, 33, 44. into that. If we come back here and look, there's our 22, 33, 44. So what I want you to realize is that each time you do an insert, you can come to your database, click on Shippers Lab 5, and look at the data. Is it actually in there? So if you go through insert and this page reloads and it doesn't appear here, well, go here and see if it's here. If it's not here, you have a problem on your doInsert page. Okay? The insert statement. We'll come to the SQL tab. Notice mine says I'm on my database. Yours would say CGT 356 web number letter. My table, Shippers Lab 5. The insert statement consists of insert into table name, Shippers Lab 5. Now I'm going to, yours has a capital L, so I'm going to come over here. I have that one here. It has 1, 2, and 3 in it. Sorry. It has 1, 2, and 3 in it. I'm going to go to the SQL tab. Again, database, table name. So the insert statement. Insert into table name, Shippers Lab 5. And then we list the column names, shipper ID, comma, company name, phone, values, and the values here, we need to know shipper ID, company name, and phone. I'm going to do a Control A, Control X so that I've got that. I'm going to come back to structure. Table Shippers Lab 5 structure. Shipper ID is an int, so it does not need single quotes. Company name and phone are characters, so it does need single quotes. So these two are text. This one is not text. That makes a difference on what we're doing here. So the value that we need to put in here, I'm going to do a 55, comma, something for company name, something for phone. So there I have insert into table name, in parentheses, column names that I'm inserting into the order that I'm inserting them. So this matches up with this matches up with this, this matches up with this, okay? So column names listed in the order that I'm inserting values. Keyword values followed by the actual values. This is an integer, it's a number, so it does not have single quotes around it. These are text. These are stored as variable length characters, varchars. So they have to have single quotes around them. So I'm going to copy that, but I'm going to hit go. You'll see one row inserted. Let's come back to browse, and you'll see 55 there, testing 1 and what I entered. Again, I'm in table Shippers Lab 5. So let's do that one more time. SQL tab, get rid of that. Again, the structure is insert into table name, list the columns out, no single quotes or anything, list the columns out, shipper ID, they're on the right hand side there, company name, comma, phone. Now in PHP this would all be on one line. It would be like this. It would all be on one line. But it's going to wrap here, so I'm just going to do that so that we can see it easy. Again, shipper ID. If we Control A, Control X, if we go to structure, again, shipper ID is an integer, it's a number, it is not text. Company name and phone are text, they are characters, variable length characters. Come back to the SQL tab. Oops, And I accidentally hit Control C instead of Control V. So let's do it again. Insert into Shippers Lab 5 column names. Keyword values, parentheses, a number, we'll do 66, comma, some textual value for company name, some textual value for phone number. Now you might ask, why isn't phone number stored as an integer? Well, because then you could perform mathematical operations on it. We don't want that. And if you've got dashes, that's what would happen in SQL. So instead of storing a phone number, you'd wind up storing a number. So the phone number is actually text because we should probably store something like that in there. Let's go ahead and hit go. See one row inserted. I'll come back to browse and we'll see there's the phone number. It looks like the others there. It has a dash, which is also a minus sign. So phone number is text, not an integer. Company name is text. Shipper ID is an integer. It's just a number that uniquely identifies each row. There can only be one 1. There can only be one 2. There can only be one 55. So if I try to insert 55 again, it's not going to work. So let's do it. Control A. Insert into Shippers Lab 5. Columns. Shipper ID. Company name. Phone. Also, if you are a little clumsy with typing and you mistype, you invert letters, you any kind of typo. You have 3 P's instead of 2. You have a lowercase l. You have NMAE. Any kind of typo. This statement will not work. So look at your spelling. So again, we're trying to insert one that already exists. A value for company name, a value for phone. I'm just going to type some garbage. So now this one already exists, right? We did that one first. Loading, duplicate entry 55 for primary. I come back to browse. It is not there. It did not insert. The same thing's going to happen in your PHP if you try to insert something that already exists. It will not go in because shipper ID is unique. It is unique and not null. It is a primary key. So it uniquely identifies any one record in this table. Now, I think that gets us to being able to, looks like somebody is playing with my select table. Let's go fix that. Come down here. We've got everything there. Got 2 there. I will go to here. I will come down here. I need to repopulate my data, so I'm going to go to Create Lab 5. My tables are already there, but what I need is the insert statements. So I'm going to copy the insert statements, not the Shippers Lab 5 ones, but the Users Lab 5 ones. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to come over here. Now 7 and 9 are in there still. Come back to structure, come back to browse. Let me delete that. Yes, thank you. Go away. Because I'm going to reinsert it. That's why I deleted those two. So I'm going to come back to SQL, and I'm going to paste in those and hit go, and then come back to browse so we can see they're all there. I'm going to come back here and refresh, and now everything is listed once again on that page. So again, we are going to look at insert. Check my VPN connection. Sorry, got lost in what I was doing. So I was over here on the finished solution. I jumped over to the one I'm working on. This page, this is what we need to do in this video. Sorry, I got mixed up there. My fault. So I've got data here. Now we're going to work on this insert page, which doesn't exist yet. I've given you a starter page for that. So we'll go grab that starter page and start with it. We just went through repopulating the data if you've deleted some out. But let's go ahead and come back over to here. You'll want to go down to the files that I've provided, and you need this zip file that contains starter pages. Once you have those, we will unpack it. I don't know why I created that, but I'm going to cut those pages, bring them all the way out here. I'm going to get rid of these two folders. I do not need them any longer. All I need is that includes folder. And then I'm going to get rid of the words underscore starter page. So I'm going to get rid of that, so it's just insert.php. And I'm going to get rid of that, so it's just update.php. Let's go ahead and switch to Dreamweaver here. So these are the pages from last time that we did, index and select. And I'm going to grab insert. We're not gonna look at update in this video. We'll look at it in the next one. And I'm not sure why it dropped it over there, so I'm going to grab it and bring it over here. There we go. So we've got our insert.php. Let's actually come back to the browser. This is our assignment space. So it's not the finished solution, it's the assignment space. I'll click on insert. Now I've got a page there. So we've got our 3 form fields to fill in, and then we can hit insert. And then that will go to doInsert, a processing page, and then redirect us back to here. So on insert, we're going to go to the very top. So this is what you should have, what I've given you here. We're going to add just a little bit to it. Above the doc type tag, we are going to have session start so that we can use the session variable. So now we can use session variables as part of this. And then we are going to check to see if there's an error message on the page. And so we are going to provide feedback as part of this. So we're going to say if empty $_session error message. If the error message is empty, session error message equals the empty string. So basically if it's the first time through and session error message doesn't exist, then we are creating it and we're setting it equal to nothing. So that's what's happening there. So if it's empty or it doesn't exist, then let's create it so that it does exist, so that later I can check to see does it equal the empty string or not. Likewise, towards the bottom of this page, we are going to clear that error message out. So down here, we're going to open our PHP, close our PHP, and do session error message is equal to the empty string. So when we come to this insert page, if there is an error message, we will display it inside of this span. But after we display it, we'll clear the error message. If we don't clear the error message, it's just going to continue to appear and appear and appear, and we don't want that. We want it to appear one time, so we'll write it out and then clear it. So it'll already be written on the screen here when we clear it out, and if we hit a refresh, it will be gone. So in this span, we're going to do open our PHP, and sorry I forgot. Open our PHP, and then do an echo statement. And we're going to echo out the error message if there is one. Just like that. So if there is an error message, it will display on this page. I'm going to hit save. And we can come back here. Once that has saved, looks like it's saved. It takes a minute. I'm off campus. So we've got notice undefined variable underscore session in line 39. So let's come back here to see line 39. We've got $_ session. It's not misspelled. So for some reason, it looks like it did not enable it. Let me switch back here. On my select page, we can start out by creating that. So I'll save that. Come back here, let's go to select and refresh that page. Back to insert. I've still got undefined variable underscore session. It's good to have these in the videos because I think it's helpful. We've gotten through this all right, so it checks to see if it's empty. We come down here and we do an echo of underscore session. Did I mean up here spelling's the same. So what I'll do is inside of this if statement, I'll do an if not empty session error message, then echo out the error message. It's the same thing we did on the previous assignment. Wait for that to save. And there it's disappeared. So now we've got our select page, our insert page. And for some reason it was not initializing our error message, either on select or here. If that continues to be a problem, I'll have to contact ECN and see if session is properly turned on for this folder. So I paused the video there to do some testing, and this is a good thing to point out in the video. So what I had done, if you rewind the video a little bit, I had forgotten to put PHP after that opening delimiter, and that was causing my entire problem. So once I put PHP back there, it began working. So I can come here and I can delete this. I can come down here. The reason this was not working properly was because I did not have that opening PHP delimiter up above. So there's a couple of things there I added while I was not recording. So again, what you should have is at the top, opening PHP delimiter, session start. You should have this if empty, session error message equals that. Down here in the span, you should echo out the error message because it should be initialized there. And then we should empty out the error message here. So if I save that, once that's saved, come on, there we go. Refresh this page, and we don't have an error message problem there anymore. And just to show that it's working properly, let's come here and just inside of here, let's do session error message is equal to testing and save that. Come back here and refresh, and testing appears there. It's inside of that span. So we'll come back and we'll get rid of that line because we don't need it. And that should complete our insert page. We can start looking at our doInsert page. Got our document.getElementById shipper ID, which points to input ID equals shipper ID and sets the focus there. I'm going to make sure that we save this page, and then we're going to create a new page called doInsert.php. So file new, PHP, create. So we'll make sure we go to File, Save As. And then you want to name it doInsert.php. So we'll have insert and doInsert. I'm going to go to Code View, do a select all and delete. This will be entirely PHP. So in here, what we want to do is grab the data from insert.php and form an insert statement, insert into Shippers Lab 5, and insert it into the database, and then redirect back to select.php. So we're going to start once again with session start. And then we need to grab the values from the previous page. So I'm going to create a variable called shipper ID and set it equal to $_post shipper ID, just like we've done in previous assignments. Company name. Again, these $company name, $shipper ID, those are local variables that we are creating. We're going to do something different once we have this typed out here. Company name, again, that's got to match what's on the previous page. Local variable $phone is equal to $post phone. So again, this shipper ID, if we come back to insert.php, has to match name equals shipper ID. Look at your capitalization. Input name equals company name with a capital N. Name equals company name. Insert. Input name equals phone, all lowercase. Again, it's name equals that you're looking at, like that. Now, on company name and phone, because we are collecting text and not numbers, we're going to escape out some special characters, and we do that using add slashes. So we're going to put that $_post into a built-in PHP function called add slashes. We're going to do the same thing here. What that does is prevent people from typing things that they shouldn't type and trying to do SQL injection, trying to mess up your code by inserting things that they're not supposed to. We as web programmers have to check for those things. It is a serious issue. Now, in addition to add slashes, we're going to do some more checks. So I'm going to create a variable called remove these, set it equal to an array, arrays like that, and then we can create an array of elements. So I'm going to create an array of text values. The first one's going to be the opening PHP delimiter. The next one's going to be just less than question mark. The next one's going to be the closing tag. The next one's going to be just a less than. And then we're going to do closing PHP, and we're going to do closing HTML, just a greater than, and a semicolon. So we are going to check for those. So if somebody types those in, we're going to check for those and remove them. So we'll do $ company name is equal to string replace. String replace will take 3 parameters. So as you'll see there, it helps you out. First thing we're going to pass in is what we are looking for. We're looking for remove these. We want to replace, if one of those is found, replace it with nothing. And we want to look in the variable company name. Again, $phone. is equal to string replace. We want to look for any of those items. If we find one of those items, replace it with the empty string. And the place you are looking is in $phone. So again, just some sanitization there. Go ahead and save that. The next thing we're going to do is check to see if our items are empty. We want to make sure that something was typed into them. So I'm going to do an if statement. And I'm going to check to see if shipper ID, double pipe for or, company name, double pipe for or, phone. I'm going to see if all of those have something. So I'm going to do $, shipper ID is double equal to the empty string, or if $, company name is double equal to the empty string, or if $, phone is double equal to the empty string. So if they did not type something into those text boxes, then we want to set an error message. We'll say you must enter a value for all boxes. Oops. Semicolon. We'll do a header redirect and send us back to location insert.php. Oops. And then exit. After that, we'll do an else if. And we are going to look to see if shipper ID is numeric. And specifically, we want to know if it is not numeric. So else if not is numeric, the shipper ID. So we're checking to see if shipper ID is not numeric. If it's not, well, we need to set a error message. And this one's going to say you must enter a number for shipper ID. Same thing with the header location redirect. Exit once again. A final else statement. If we get here, everything is okay so far, so we make sure that our error message is cleared out. So I've got check to see that all three have something in them. Check to make sure that shipper ID is a number. And then if everything's okay, then we clear out make sure the session error message is cleared out. So now we are ready to open our database connection. So we'll do an include. Look in the includes folder. And I'm going to double check here. Assign05 includes lowercase o on mine. Make sure yours matches as well. So I've got OpenDBCon like that. So now we did a little example there in PhpMyAdmin where you cannot enter the same thing twice. So we've got to do a check. We've got to do a check to see if the number they entered up here, we've checked to see if did they enter a number, was it a number. Now we've got to do another check to see has that number already been entered, because it is the primary key, it is unique and not null. No. My computer froze a little bit. I'm going to pause. Okay, so we'll start our check. We do a select statement to check. So we'll do a $SQL. We're just creating that for this page right now. And we're going to do a select shipper ID from shippers lab 5 where shipper ID is equal to, and then we concatenate $shipper ID. So now to show you what's happening there, and so that you can see, let's do an echo $SQL. Saving that. I'm going to come down here several lines. I'm going to do an include statement. Includes close dbcon, and I'm going to save that. And so now we are concatenating this together. So we've got where shipper ID is equal to the number that was entered. So let's come back to here, refresh this page, and let's enter any number and hit insert. This takes us to our doInsert that we are creating, and I wrote out select shipper ID from this where shipper ID is equal to that number. So that's how we're concatenating it together. And this right here is something you can use to help yourself debug. I'm going to just comment out this line because you may want to use it later to check. And again, we've got some of the same code we saw in the select video. So we've got result, $result is equal to MySQL underscore query, where we pass it $DB, which is our database connection, and $SQL, which is our select statement. We check to see if the result is empty. If it is empty, then we set numResults equal to 0. Again, this is information that was covered in the select video. Otherwise, we set numResults equal to MySQL numRows, and we pass it the result so that it can be counted. So we check to see if it's empty. Otherwise, we get the number back. We want it to be 0, so we'll do an if $numResults is not equal to 0. If it's not equal to 0, well, we need to set an error message. And say the shipper ID you entered already exists. Do a header redirect back to the insert page and then exit once again. Otherwise, clear the session error message. So if we've gotten this far, where we have checked to make sure something was entered, checked to make sure that a number was entered, checked to make sure that that number that was entered is not already in the database, we can do our insert. So now I'm going to overwrite that SQL variable and create a different statement, an insert statement. Insert into table name, columns, keyword values, and then here is where we do our concatenation once again. So we need to, the first one is going to be a number, so we need to concatenate in there. So we'll do double quote, period, period, $, shipper ID. The second one will be text, the third one will be text. So you can see that there are 3 values. The first value here, shipper ID, the next one will go here, the third one will go here. So we need those single quotes. Those single quotes have to be there. Inside of those single quotes, we'll do double quote. Inside of those double quotes, we'll do period, period. Inside of those periods, we'll do $ company name. That concatenates company name in there. Same thing again. Inside of those single quotes, double quotes. Inside of the double quotes, period, period. Inside of that, $phone. Again, echo SQL is your friend. Use it. Test it. So we're not going to execute it yet. I'm just going to do a save, and we are going to write this out. And you should see an insert statement listed out that has the values from the previous page, sanitized if necessary. So we'll come back here. These are the values entered. Insert info. Insert into table name, column names, separated by commas, keyword values, parentheses here, number, so it does not have single quotes, text, so it does have single quotes, text, so it does have single quotes. That's what you should see. I'm going to comment out that echo statement, leave it there. You can use it. It'll be useful to you. And then I will do a $result is equal to MySQLi underscore query $db $SQL, which is the insert statement at this point. So that's going to send the SQL statement, the insert statement, to that database through that database connection. Once that is done, we can close the database connection, and then after that we'll do a header redirect to select.php. We're going to select.php, and then after that, exit, and that will finish out the page. Now, if you are having troubles on this page, on doInsert, comment out this line. Comment out that line, uncomment that line, save it, and test it. That is, if you come to me with questions, that's exactly what I'm going to tell you to do. That's exactly what I will do. I'll open up your file. I will comment out the header redirect. I will uncomment, or I will write an echo statement, as many echo statements as I need to. And what will happen is, instead of redirecting, it will stop on that page and it will display errors. It will tell me information. I'm going to go ahead and show this functioning first. Come back here. We're going to insert this. And there it is, inserted. We'll come back here. And once again, I can do another one. Now, if there's a problem, something's happening, we don't know what's going on, comment out that header redirect, uncomment the echo, save it, and instead of passing through that page to where you never see it, instead of passing through it, it will stop on that page. And if there's an error, if there's a PHP error, you will see it. If there's a coding, if there's an insert statement error, you write out the insert statement and you check it to see if it's going to work. If you need to check and if you need to test it, we can copy this as a test value, hit Control-C to copy, come over here, I'm in log out, log back in. Here's all the ones that I had been entering. Now, it did actually, that 444, it inserted because of, I don't have any errors in my code. So this line right here executed, right? But let's say, let me prevent that from executing. Come back to our solution. I'll have to enter something different. Insert. It brings this up. I'm going to copy this. Control-C. Come over here. Refresh the browse. That one did not go in because I commented out the line. I'll go to the SQL tab. And I will paste in this insert statement that I copied from here. And I'll hit go. If there's an error with that insert statement, it will tell you right here. So write it out, copy it, paste it, execute it, and see if there's an error. See if it tells you, hey, you're missing a comma. Hey, you're missing a single quote. It will tell you. So copy it out of here and paste it here. So let's go back to our solution. Comment out the echo, uncomment the result, uncomment the header redirect, save it. One last check. Select, insert, and that's what you should see working. as your insert part of this assignment.